This is a tutorial on how to create some of the parts for the bench seat if you're doing this project here. And so we're going to start by looking at one of the many ways that you can actually develop the legs here. We'll call those the legs or the sides of the project. And so we're going to start with those sections there. If you have a look at your cutting list, you'll see that they're 430 high and 380 wide. And that's reflected in the plans down here. The width is 380 and the height, as you can see in this measurement here, is 430. So we can take those two measurements. You notice that they are tapered in towards the top, but we're going to start off with a rectangle and then we'll develop some of the detail. So we're going to come through, choose the rectangular tool, and we want to tell it that we're going to select the right hand face here. May as well draw it from the beginning in the correct plane. Draw a rectangle and we can start to put in our measurements. So we said 430 high. Tab across to this width here, and we've got the width at 380. Click OK and stop sketch. You'll notice that's quite large, so we're going to zoom out so we can see that entire thing there. We'll go through to our right hand view there, and we want to start to put in some of the detail. So if we look at our plans, we'll notice that down the bottom it's 380, up the top it's 280. That's a difference of 100 millimeters. But if we divide that by 2, that's 50 mil both sides. So we're going to come in 50 mil from both sides. To do that, I just want a little marker because I want to know where that point is 50 mil in. At the moment, I can't tell or see without a measurement in there. So I'm going to do a little construction line. So I'm going to choose a line there and put that in. Click the tick. I'll do another one over the other side as well, and then we'll stop sketch. We then want to come through and select those lines. So we're going to choose that tool, which is called the offset tool, and it will ask us which line do we want to offset. And we want to select one of these ones here, offset. It's going to come in 50 millimeters. Click OK and then stop sketch. And that line now intersects that point there at 50 millimeters. So I can pick that point up in a moment and put that diagonal in so it tapers up. I'm going to do the same over the other side. You can click offset, select, and this time if I go 50, it's put it at 50 out that way. So I need to say negative 50. Okay, so we want it to go to the left hand side there. Click OK and stop sketch. I can then come through with my line tool again and pick up that point, come all the way down to that bottom corner. Click the green tick to disconnect it and then come over here. If you're having trouble getting it on the right spot, zoom in a little bit and that allows you to pick up those points more accurately, all the way down to the bottom, and green tick to detach it. I'm now going to put the arc in the bottom, and I'm going to do a similar thing. So I'm going to stop sketch. We can actually come through and delete some of these construction lines now. We don't need those anymore, so that we're not crowding our page up too much. We'll actually get rid of those. And we can even get rid of that whole box there. So we've got our sides in there, and we'll fill in some of that finer detail. So to begin with, up the top, let's just put in that top piece. Click and stop sketch, and we can come through and put in construction line here and here. Doesn't matter how long, we just need it running through that point. Stop sketch and back to the plans. We can see that down here it comes in 65 millimeters both sides, and then the arc, the top of the arc from the bottom here comes up 45 millimeters. So I'm going to put some lines in to reflect those. Again, offset tool, or you'll notice rather than clicking that, you can just hit O, so a bit of a shortcut on the keyboard if you like, as you get used to these commands. And we said 65 millimeters. Now this time it's negative from this side. Click OK. Stop sketch. O. Click the line I want to offset, and this time 65 from that side. Click OK, and we've got those in there. Now finally what I'll do is put one more line in there, so I can stop sketch, and I can just tap L for line if you like. I'm going to put it in between here and here. Stop sketch. O for offset. Click on the correct plane. Select the part that I'd like to offset. Sometimes it doesn't pick it up very well, so I'll stop sketch and try again. O. Select the part, and we want it to come up 45 millimeters. Negative 45 millimeters for this one. Click OK and stop sketch. There's my construction lines, and I can come through now and with my line tool put this line in between here and here, this one, and change it to an arc tool. We've got all these different types we can put in. This is the one that we're going to select for this arc between 3 points. Click on that. There's my first point. Then we specify the diameter of the arc, which is here, and then we go into the center there. So you'll notice it'll pick up a little smart point there when I'm in the center of that line. Click, and there's my arc. Stop sketch, and I can come through now and delete some of these lines. And this one here. There's my shape. And I'm now ready to extrude that. So if we have a look at our isometric view, you'll notice that there's no thickness to it. So we're going to just select all of that now. For some reason, I'm not able to put my marquee around that in the moment. It's picking up any point as I drag that across. It'll highlight each of those points. So I'll just make sure they're all selected. I'll have to change that selection pane. I don't like that tool that was on there, so I'm going to choose window selection, and that way I can come through and drag a box around it. Create and extrude this time. It asks me which profile do I want to extrude. Well, again, I'm going to need to select all of that. I'm not sure whether that's going to work. It's not. Maybe it's not because I've made that up of all different parts. And so in order to change that, I might need to make it up in one sketch. So I'll come through again with my line tools, and I'm just going to trace that and click from here to here, here to here, here to here. Change to an arc tool, and notice I haven't stopped the sketch. Here to here, so I'm connecting it all up, and hopefully at the end, line tool again, it will recognize this as one solid part. Last one up the top here, and stop sketch. We'll see how we go here. Create, extrude, watch it in the isometric view, and now it's actually highlighting that it's recognizing it as one solid shape. So I can come through and choose my thickness. You can drag it out with a line, you can put the distance in here, or you can type the distance in here. We need to consult our plans for this, and you'll notice that leg sides are 35 millimeters thick. So over here we're going to type in 35 and there's my solid leg. I've now got to come through and put in some construction lines that show where this circle goes, and then also the groove down here. So let's quickly do that. First of all, on the plans, this from the bottom is 240 millimeters up the center of that circle, and it's in the middle of the width there. So if I come and have a look, half of 380 is going to be 190 and 240 up from the bottom. So again, I can use my line tools to create some construction lines. Find the midpoint here and pick up that point. As I drag it across, you'll notice those little blue lines appear, which show that I'm in line with those. So click there and click there and green tick, stop sketch. I'm going to offset that. We'll just hit O for offset on that plane, select the line. We're going to come up 240 from the bottom. It's going to be negative 240. There's our line. Click OK, stop sketch, and we're actually already in the center there because we picked the center of that arc. So just to be sure, I'm going to run a line from the midpoint here. You'll notice it snaps to the middle. Click, drag that. I can go just through the center there and stop sketch. And I think it could be a good thing that I've done that, because if I zoom in on that, you notice it hasn't quite gone through the center there. So this is the point right here where I need to create my circle. So I'm going to choose center diameter circle. That is, we're going to click in the center where we want the circle to be, and that's going to be at this point here. Now I would like to pick that point up, and come across. So I've got my little blue dotted line, so I know I'm in the center. Click and drag out. Now I haven't checked what the diameter is yet, so I'm just going to flick over to my plans, and if I look at, where can I work out this little symbol here, I think I haven't put in an arrow there to show that that's the diameter there. 85 millimeter diameter that circle is, so I should have an arrow in there showing that. And I'm going to come in, click in that diameter, click OK, up the top, stop sketch, and then come through and delete some of these construction lines. I'd like to get rid of those to clean the drawing up. Last thing, go back to isometric view, and we're going to hit E for extrude. This time we want to select what we're extruding, and it's going to go back into that. Now what we need to do is specify the distance, so it's going to be minus 35 millimeters, and it's going in. So rather than join or create a new solid, the operation we need to have selected, it should do it automatically, but just check that it actually says cut. When we click OK, it's actually cut a hole in that component there, and that gives us our feature. You'll need to just now come and put a rectangle in here. It needs to be right in the center, 6 millimeters wide, and then extrude that so that we get our groove. And the way that we can do that is choose a rectangle, click on the right face. From this point here, right down to the bottom, and it needs to be a width of 6 millimeters. Click OK. And you notice it's off center a little bit there. So we're just going to select that. Select that rectangle. we'll see if we can offset it. Once we go across 3 millimeters, negative 3 millimeters. No, that's not going to work. What we'll need to do is, once we've selected it, we're going to select what we want to move. It's going to be this rectangle here. We might need to select all 4 parts of it. And we're going to move it in that direction, 3 millimeters. Or are we going 6? It's still not looking right. That's looking centered there. I'm not sure why it's 10 millimeters. I'm going to just run with that. Click on the rectangle now. I want to extrude this. It's broken it up into segments because it's cut through that circle there, so I need to hold shift and select 1, 2, 3 sections, and this time we're going to cut into it, not that deeply. We're going to go 6 millimeters, click OK, and there's my groove feature. The final thing that we need to do is to change the material, so modify physical material, scroll down to wood, choose a material that represents your desired look or the species of timber that you're using. If it doesn't appear first up, then what it probably means is down in your display settings, you've got it in wireframe like I have there. So what I'd like to do is go shaded with hidden edges. Sorry, shaded with visible edges only, so that we don't actually see the hidden detail. And there is the bench seat side. Need to save that. Select the correct folder. So mine's going to be in Year 10 tutorials for this one, bench seat folder, and this is going to be called bench seat sides. Save, and we're done.